a very current topic, which is the economics of news media.
You know, Gutenberg and the printing press, to kind of the radio time up here, to the advent of the internet, those available resources have changed drastically. So today we're going to explore news media in specifically, things like New York Times and all the things you guys have probably been seeing on Facebook. Why is this relevant? Well, today it seems like media almost has a derogatory term. It seems when people talk about media, they talk about fake news. So we're going to go on a little political witch hunt with Donnie and see which news is fake or real on Facebook. Breaking! Pope Francis has backed Trump and released this incredible statement. Why? Spread this everywhere! And that's how you know, that's pretty good when it says that in the title of the news article. Great. You know what? This is actually fake. I had to look into it, but this is fake. The Pope did not back Donald Trump. Is it true? WikiLeaks reveals epic videos. Bill Clinton having sex with Megyn Kelly. This is not how you spell her name, too. That's actually the wrong spelling. This is actually fake. I clicked on it. There's no video there. Evidence. Hillary now confirmed to have Kuru disease. I did not look up what that is. From cannibalism. Proof. Guys, I looked into this one. This is fake. Ben Carson defends himself against allegations that he has never attempted to murder a child. Guys, this is a real news article. And that's just kind of a little demonstration of how much fake news has been infiltrating our media today.
All right, so I'm going to look at consumer preference and willingness to pay. So most people get their news from TV compared to print. So people more and more are getting their news on smartphones rather than even just laptops. The older you are, the more likely you are to get your news from television, and the younger you are, the more likely you are to get it from online sources. When it comes to attitudes, people will claim that only half the people in the United States will claim that they are loyal to their news source. People won't admit that they only get it from the same news sources. But when you actually look at people's behavior, it comes out that 76% turn to the same sources all the time to find their news. 46% of adults are the ones that are very loyal, that will admit that they go to the same sources and then actually do it. While only 18% of people that claim they don't actually don't go to the same sources. So only 18% of people in the US, try to fish around in different news sources rather than always going to the same ones. So older generations are more likely to pay for their news. Younger generation people that pay for Spotify or Netflix, since we're already saying I will pay for streaming TV or for our music, those people are more likely to pay for their news. Different countries have different willingness to pay. So the US is about 67% of people say that they wouldn't pay at any price.
So if you think about it, television, print, and radio offer much less interaction with the news and with other consumers of the news than these online or mobile sources. Often we don't just get news, but we also get other people's opinions or interpretations of the news, which might help us decide whether or not we want to read or watch a video. So you, as a consumer, your resource is attention. And it's definitely a scarce resource. You can't prevent people who have not paid for the news from consuming it.
So there's content producers, there's aggregators, and there's distributors. As one company can be a content producer, an aggregate, and a distributor, and this happens a lot. And we look further into this is a solution of choice. There's 6 large media companies that own 90% of what we read, watch, and listen to.
Well, the primary costs of the media industry is content creation and production. The high fixed content costs result in the economies of scale for the larger conglomerates, and also this gives significant bargaining power to the content producers who are these media conglomerates. But the transaction for the media companies is renting our consumers' eyeballs to these advertising companies. Would consumers continue to use their favorite websites if they had to pay for their content? And 82% of the surveyors said that they would look elsewhere.
Of course, first of all, the freedom of the press is also importantly inscribed in the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights. But then for about 150 years, not much happened with media law until 1934, when President Roosevelt enacted the Federal Communications Commission, largely on the premise of making, quote, rapid, efficient, nationwide, and worldwide wire and radio communication services with adequate facilities at a reasonable charges available to everybody. By 1983, there were a number of competitors in the media market, over 50 of them. So that brings us to 2005 then, get down to 10. Just only 10, the industry is becoming more consolidated. And now we're here in 2017, we're down to 6 major companies. What does the FCC do now? Not much, apparently.
We do get a surplus or a great amount of low-quality news. Tabloidization, moving from factual news to really sensationalized news. And then you get a lot of misinformation. So you don't have to be an experienced writer to write a really sensationalized piece. So to conclude, we're going to have, what's his name? Jimmy. We'll have Jimmy conclude. So.
Thank you. Technological change has led to a change in cost structure of the news industry, which has then led to a change in quantity and quality of news being supplied.
That's all we have time for tonight. Thank you.